it's Emily from burlapkitchen.com, and we're going to make something super fun with a jar. So the first thing I did was I just spray painted. I gave it 2 coats of black spray paint and left it dry really well in between each coat. Once it's dry, and you want to make sure it's nice and dry before moving on, you can then paint the jar lid, the outside of the jar, and the foam ball with some Mod Podge and sprinkle coffee on it. So we're going to make a primitive bunny. Primitive is not really my style. I'm more into rustic, but I had this idea and I thought I would share it with you guys because I know some of you do like the primitive stuff. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. So I'm just going to paint this foam ball, and I have no clue what size this foam ball is. I have a big bin of them and I just grabbed one that I thought would work. So again, I'm just painting the outside of this jar with some Mod Podge. And then I am sprinkling it with some coffee grounds. I just get the cheapest coffee grounds I can find, the most for the money, and that's what I use. So I'm putting that rest of that coffee back into my container. And I don't use that coffee. I don't drink that coffee. I don't drink it. It's just for crafting only. So then what you want to do is you want to take your Mod Podge and you want to you can't paint it. You have to kind of like tap it. Because if you paint it and brush it, it will spread your coffee. And so what you want to do is kind of like tap the Mod Podge into the foam ball or over top the coffee. So I did that with the foam ball, and I'm going to do the same thing with the jar lid and also the jar. Now I should have left a little space at the top of the jar, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want any of that showing. I'll show you in a bit here what I mean. So I sped that up quite a bit for you guys. Then what you're going to do is I helped it out a little bit with my heat gun, but you're going to want to let these sit almost overnight to dry because they take a long time. So then I have some material that I coffee dyed, and we're going to give this bunny some bib overhauls. So I just cut out little strips and I just glued it onto the jar. And I left a little bit of extra space because I wasn't sure how long or short I wanted them just yet. So I'm just kind of playing around with it here, just kind of seeing how long I want it. So then you can see I kind of eyeballed it and then I clipped it. So this is going to be the bottom part of his bibs. So I'm just going to cut this little rough edge off here. And then I'm going to lay it over so it's even and see how I want it to look. It needed to come down just a little bit. So I'm going to trim it one more time. That's looking pretty good. And then we're going to trim that back part off. And then all we're going to do, I'm just going to line it up here and measure it, make sure everything is looking how I want it to look. And then I'm just going to take my hot glue and I'm just going to glue it right onto my jar. Just like that. And make sure you have the side that folds that overlap there in the back center of the jar so you don't see that on the side or the front. So now that I got that on, you can see where I'm trying to put my lid on. And it was a little bit tough. That's what I was talking about earlier, where you may want to leave just a little bit of a space to get your lid on. So now what I'm going to do is I was trying to think here how I wanted to do it, if I even wanted the lid on or not, but I think it needed the lid. When I just put the foam ball on without the lid, I thought it looked kind of goofy, like it needed something. So I did go ahead and add the lid. And then I took some Spanish moss, and I wasn't sure. Let me know in the comments what you think, because we're going to add some Spanish moss later. I wasn't sure I was loving the Spanish moss here, but I added it anyways. I couldn't think of what else to put there. I don't know if like a twine bow would have looked cute. He needed something there, but I just wasn't sure what. So I went for my go-to, my Spanish moss. Now I'm going to take some rebar wire. You can get this at Lowe's, and it's usually with the cement. And you get like a big roll, I want to say for like $8. It's perfect for crafting. So I just shaped that into 2 little ears. And then this is a coffee dyed flour sack. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of hot glue this around to make a bunny ear. So all the bad parts where it's folded over and glued, I'm going to put that in the back of the ear. And you can see I'm just kind of gluing it and folding it back. Just like that. So now we're going to do the same thing over here to the other one. And don't fuss with trying to get both of your wires to be perfectly shaped the same. It's primitive, and primitive stuff is all different. So I feel like primitive stuff a lot of times looks like almost like things that like kids would make in a way. Do you guys think that? But it's so cute. I love it. I just love the way that it looks. It's like real rough and rustic. So don't overthink it. That looks pretty good to me. So I left a little bit of a space where I didn't glue there at the bottom just so I could pull my wire or pull that up a little bit and stick my wire in. You see that extra hanging there? We're going to snip that off, but I wanted to put my wire into the foam first, or his ears into the head of the bunny. So once I got that in, then I just kind of hot glued it around and glued the excess material to the back and kind of gave it a trim just to make it look as neat as I could down at the bottom. But you guys know me, I'll be adding some Spanish moss to that here soon. So then I'm going to take some raffia and I'm just going to kind of pull it apart, and then I'm just going to tie a knot right in the middle. And there you have whiskers. It's that easy, guys. So then we're going to put some hot glue on that and just glue it right to where you think his little nose would be. That looks pretty good. And then I have this little pink button, and I'm just going to glue that on top of it for his nose. And I think you could make like a little boy and a little girl bunny would be super cute. I had to adjust the ears. They were bugging me. They were a little off center. So I just went back and readjusted them a little bit. So you can see how he's looking so far. Super cute. I have these little brown wood buttons. I have no clue where I got them, but they're super cute. So I added them for his bibs. And let's add some beads for the eyes. These are little black beads. I have no clue where these came from either. I want to say I got them at Joann Fabrics, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So now we're going to take some Spanish moss up top and cover that little goof up, like the bottom with the ears and stuff. The Spanish moss just makes it look a little more complete. And like I said, I love the Spanish moss up by his ears. I don't know if I'm loving it down by the neck. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. So I'm just kind of fluffing it up here, getting it to look the way that I want it to look. And it's looking pretty good. Just trimming things up. Guys, if you love my DIYs, make sure you sign up for our text list. All you have to do is text hashtag Burlap Kitchen to +717 619 8043. I decided actually that I was going to add a pocket to this. I felt like he needed something a little bit extra, so I added this little pocket from the coffee dyed flour sack. I thought it looked super cute. It was a super cute touch. I wanted to put something in the pocket, but I felt like everything I put in was too big and it didn't look right. So we just put just a pocket on there. And then that is it, guys. This is a super simple, fun craft. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I do. Or as much as I did. For more fun DIYs just like this, please visit burlapkitchen.com. Thank you.